Hey friends, we are going to continue on with workout 2 to talk and think and train our brains around pelvic posture. So if you haven't started with pelvic posture number 1 yet, go back and check that out. I give you some information about the anterior tilt, posterior tuck. And today we're going to start in an upright position. I do have a few props that you might want to gather before we start. Water. I've got some weights. I believe I'm probably going to use my 3s, anything from the 3 to 10 pound. We're going to do some bicep curls with the weights. And then I want you to grab yourself either a stretchy band. It doesn't have to be a loop. It could be any kind of a band. Or if you don't have either of those, just a towel. I've just got a beach towel here that I'm going to use to demonstrate. So first thing that we're going to do is work those muscles in the pelvic floor in a standing position. So I want you to find a neutral pelvic position, standing both feet on the ground about hip width apart, and I want you to think of all 10 toes equally down into the ground. Or more specifically, you can think of a triangle from your heel to the pad of your big toe to the pad of your pinky toe. So you've got a nice little triangle, equal weight, and then I want you to think about just slightly lifting the inner arch of your foot here. Make sure that your knees are not locked out. Watch what happens when we lock out our knees. It tends to send you into an anterior tilt with this pelvis. So if I just put a little bit of a micro bend in my knees, not enough to be awkward, they're just loose here, then I have more mobility in this pelvis. And then I want you to just tuck and tilt a few times. If you had water in the bowl of your pelvis, when you tilt it forward here, water spills out the front. When you tuck it under, water spills out the back. Find that spot right in the middle where it feels like you can hold a little bit of water. Find a little bit of scap activation. And then from this position, we're going to work the pelvic floor. So we're going to take those two functions of close all 3 sphincters and then lift. We're going to hold each for a count of 5. We're going to take an inhale to reset in between, just like we did in the previous video. So take a nice big inhale, fill. I'm actually going to hold my hands on my lower belly. And then as you exhale, think front, middle, and back sphincters. Close, hold that close. So it's just those external pelvic floor muscles for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to go a little deeper, lift those pelvic floor muscles in and up. You might find some transverse abdominis activation, holding here for 1, 2, relax your butt, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Inhale, let that go. If you found yourself gripping in your pelvis or your glute muscles, go ahead and just shake it out. We're going to go again. I'm going to show you the side view. As we inhale, we relax all the way down to the bottom of the pelvis, and then exhale. Just those external pelvic floor muscles of close, holding or stopping the flow of urine, stopping gas. I'm not gripping in my glutes. Hold for 3, 4, 5, and then go a little deeper. You feel that lift. I really feel that. It's almost like a scooping or a lift up the front of the abdominals as I lift those pelvic floor muscles. Relax your glutes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then inhale, let it go. We're going to take that one more time. Take a nice big inhale in to prep, and then exhale, close, front, middle, and back. Just superficial pelvic floor muscles, gentle, stop urine, stop gas. 3, 4, 5, and then lift those muscles up and in, hang on to them for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. We're going to grab either that band or our towel. The band is going to be a little more intense. So if you've got the towel, actually I'm going to demo with the towel because it will be less intense to show you. We're going to go into our scapular activation without changing the shape of our pelvis. So what I want you to do is just grab onto the end of this rolled up towel, or you're grabbing onto the ends of your band. And I want you to think of that mid-center point in your back. So as you pull the band or the towel apart, think of activating right here in the center of your back, just turning on those scaps. Now as you do this, I want you to make sure that you're not tucking your butt under to get that strength on. You're not going into an anterior tilt. You're just trying to maintain that neutral pelvis right in the center. Close and lift the pelvic floor, and holding this for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, let it go. Maybe shake out the pelvis a little bit. We're gonna go back into a second set. We're gonna do this 3 times. So big breath in to prep, neutral pelvis, weight down right through the center of the feet. Exhale, turn those scap muscles on, hold them as you close and lift the pelvic floor. Holding for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, let go. And I'll do this last one with a band. And ready, close, lift, hold those scaps down and together. This is a subtle movement for the bottom of the shoulder blades. Holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. I feel a lot of fire right here between those shoulders. You want to be able to do a scapular or scad. It is scapular ad-duction. Ad-duction means the muscles are coming towards one another without this getting into your traps and your neck. So if you feel a lot of tension here, take a few neck stretches, pause the video for a second just to release that tension. And this is something you're going to continue to work on to get that activation out of this high place and really train your body to get into those low scap muscles. And then starting to notice the connection between those scap muscles and a tuck or a tilt in your pelvis. So a lot of times we've trained ourselves to kind of turn on our scads as we jut the ribs forward and stick the butt out. Or, turn on the scads and tuck everything in. So start to notice those patterns in your body. You're gonna bring yourself all the way down to the floor, and we are gonna head into a glute bridge with some marches. So just like we talked about those headlights at the front of the pelvis in the last video, I want you to drive those feet down into the floor, energetically connect from your heels to your hamstrings. You're gonna lift up into that glute bridge. Think of those headlights shining straight up to the ceiling. Palms are pressing down into the floor, and I'm thinking about that scapular activation. What you're gonna do is just shift really gently from side to side. You'll really feel as you shift. I'm shifting to the left right now. That left outer hip and glute is doing a ton of work to stabilize here. And what I'm trying to do is maintain a neutral pelvis as I shift from left to right. My glutes are burning as I do this. So that means that I'm not gonna let this hip drop as I shift sides. I'm trying to maintain that. This is really gonna get into your hamstrings, your glutes. Think of that scapular adduction. Use that exhale and that core strength to help you get from side to side. I'm only gonna take 2 more of these. Inhaling, releasing, come down and rest in the middle if you need to. And then last one. Good. Oh, I'm gonna come down and take a figure 4 stretch, crossing ankle over knee. Pull that leg back towards you, or just balance with it on the floor if this feels like it's too intense. But this is gonna get right into that place that you just felt that activation here. And then go over to the other side. Notice if you have one side that feels a little tighter, maybe spend an extra breath there, trying to get it to relax. And then what I'm gonna do is grab my light weights. I'm gonna grab my 3s for this. We're gonna come up into a kneeling position. If you've got really bony knees, just double up on your mat or throw a towel underneath there. I'm gonna drive 1 foot forward, headlights front to back, dropping these arms down, finding that scapular activation. And I'm gonna go into a tuck and an untuck. And then I'm just gonna add a bicep curl to this as I go. Just because we've been working on these concepts, these corrective exercise concepts for a while. And what we wanna do is continue to make the movements more and more complex. So we can do more things, we can work out faster, we can jump into our other workouts without feeling like we're compromising in our muscles and our bodies. So if you're still working on this, just forget the arms. You can do it without the bicep curl. It's just to add a little bit of a challenge to your brain. But as you go into this tuck, try to keep that headlight moving forward, because a lot of times we'll kind of try to open up that left hip out to the side. Good, and then I'm just gonna switch over to the other leg. Hip bones forward, pelvis is dropping down, scaps are on. tuck, and untuck. We're gonna take a few on this side. Really trying to keep those hip bones even. Stay connected to your breath. Doesn't matter to me where you inhale, exhale, just keep breathing. As long as the breath is there, you're not sending it high up into your shoulders. And let's take about 2 more here. And then we're gonna bring ourselves up to standing next. Good. I'm gonna put those weights off to the side. Grab yourself a sip of water if you need it. Get yourself all the way up to standing. We're gonna come a little bit wider than hip width apart. I'm gonna touch my sits bones to start. So I'm imagining those headlights at the front, headlights at the back, and then I'm gonna just go in and out of my hinge a few times to make sure I don't have any pulling or opening to one side or the other with my hips. And I'm taking this pelvis through this hinge and unhinge as I go. When you come up out of a squat, I want you to make sure that you're not tucking your butt under. It's one thing to squeeze your glutes at the top, but can you squeeze your glutes without tucking the pelvis under? I think a lot of us will go in and out of a squat where we really kind of like go into it this way. I have no problem with you trying to squeeze your glutes at the top, but I don't want you to get into that habit of really clenching and changing the shape of your pelvis. So we're gonna squat down, come up to stand in neutral, and if anything, I'm thinking of a little bit of a squeeze right here on the outside of my hips. So these muscles here, if I was standing in a ballet first position, go ahead and put yourself in that position. And just give your butt a little bit of a squeeze here. You feel how these muscles here turn on. When I come up out of my squat, I'm feeling that same support and activation right here. Connect to your breath. We're trying to go into our hinge. Connect energetically from your heels to your hamstrings, just like we did in those glute bridges. Doesn't matter to me what you do with your arms. I do tend to keep them more in front of me though, instead of out here, because then a lot of people get into holding some trap tension. If you're up for the challenge, go for it. But I want you to continue to hold on to that scap activation, driving down, and then feel that rotation at the top of the hips. Those hip muscles are really important during pregnancy and postpartum to help give us some stability in the pelvis as we're going through all these postural changes. Good. Give me about 2 more of those squats. Keep breathing. And then we are gonna head into a lateral lunge. Shake those legs out, grab yourself a sip of water. We are gonna start standing a little off center. Toes are gonna drive out to the side. Now, where you need to put your toes, either in straight parallel, or if you need to add a little bit of a turnout, it's your job to experiment with this. There is no right or wrong way to this positioning. What is right or wrong is what muscles you feel working. Can you come into a lateral lunge, drop your sits bones directly behind you, it means those headlights are forward and back, find your glute on that standing leg, push off and return. I want you to connect heel to sits bone without torquing or twisting in the pelvis. So those headlights keep driving forward and back, forward and back. You're gonna feel a little bit of an adductor stretch here, that stretch from knee up into the pelvic floor on that standing leg. That stretch feels really good actually. And connecting heel and back again. I'm gonna take 2 more. Take these at your own pace. Maybe you're faster, maybe you're slower. But it's all getting into that corrective exercise of changing how your brain is sending signals to your muscles. So on this side, you're gonna step out. You feel a little stretch here. Can you keep your sits bones and your hip bones driving forward and back? Press in and out of that heel to get that glute on. Now, does that mean that your toes have to face forward? Do you have to turn them out slightly? It's not about how it looks. It's all about how it feels. So when you're working out and you've got an instructor giving you cueing that wants you to create a perfect picture, I want you to toss it. Forget that they said it. Because if you create this perfect picture, but you feel this in your knees, you feel compensation in your body, it's not the right picture for you. So yeah, it may look pretty, but it's not getting you the right muscle activation. So therefore, it's trash. Give me one more. And step it together. Good. Shake out those legs. Whew. Okay, one more exercise, one more stretch. We're gonna stand on one leg. If this feels like it's too challenging, you're not here at the moment, keep your foot on the floor. We're gonna pump our arms in out position like we're running in slow motion. And then as I do that, I'm gonna hinge forward and back. If I'm hinging forward, I'm standing on my left leg, my right arm's gonna pump forward and back. In the last video, we did one-legged deadlifts, in and out of that hinge. Here, it's a little more challenging because we're in a balance, but you're still trying to find the glute on your standing leg. And then also pumping these arms without rounding or compensating through the shoulders. So find that support in the very center of your back as you go. Neutral pelvis, so as you take that leg back, you're not spinning the hip open. Give me one more. Connect up the back of your legs. If you're feeling compensation at the front of your shins, grab something or a wall, a chair, something to hang on to as you do this. Switch over to the other side. Set yourself up. A little bit of cardio here at the moment too. Maybe I'm just talking too much. I'm connecting heel to hamstring. I'm thinking about that scapular activation. I'm thinking about those hips staying nice and aligned. These mechanics are really good for getting you into going back into impact or properly engaging things during impact. Your HIIT workouts, running, jogging, chasing a toddler, lunging for a baby that's about to jump or propel themselves off of a couch. Give me two more. Stay with that breath. And last one. Awesome. Shake it out. We're gonna take a nice stretch for the inner legs. So come all the way down. You're gonna bend a knee and just stretch that other leg out to the side. I like to call this a Spider-Man stretch. Breathe into this. How'd you guys do? It's a lot of work to think about where your pelvis is in space, which is why we break this down with this corrective exercise series. We're trying to think of one concept at a time, layering on, yes, we're building on to previous concepts, but taking a few workouts to really focus in on one specific area. And then if it's something that you know was really difficult, that you had a lot of trouble with, you can always go back and repeat this one until it becomes like it's more, more second nature. It's more comfortable in your body. We're all gonna have something that we need to work on. Switch over to the other side if you didn't do that already. And then I want you to just have a seat, bring the soles of your feet together, drive those sits bones down to the ground, nice tall spine, and come forward. Think about relaxing your pelvic floor here. Breathing into that triangle that goes from pubic bone back to your sits bones and up again. And good job. I'll see you guys really soon.